All right, so B1, happy holidays as we push into this new year. B1 to the family out there. What I'm gonna do on this video, as you can see, is titled "The Unmasking of Bitch Ass Niggas." Let me adjust that. Let me adjust. It's the unmasking of bitch ass niggas. I need to get this music gets the energy. You know how we do. Hopefully it ain't too loud. So anyway, I made a video not too long ago. It was titled "Why It's Important to Know Who's Who." The importance of knowing who is who. And the video wasn't just about like particular individuals whom we should definitely know who they are in the community, but it was also about those who support. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna deep dive into that same concept, and I'm gonna use a couple clips of Tariq Nasheed's latest video to kind of help illustrate and confirm the point of what I was saying from the beginning. Why it's important to understand like who these cats are that come around, what is their purpose, and why it's a good thing that their supporters are starting to show themselves. See, we have to understand something. See, in the past, like let's say in the 60s and the 70s and all that, when we was rah, when we was doing our black power thing, we was doing our civil rights thing, we was making progress, which we all have benefited from to this day. And we look back at people like MLK, we look back at people like Malcolm X, like the Black Panthers, like other organizations and individuals that have helped push the culture forward. So now we look at it, and those people who were alive during that time can tell us anything because we wasn't there. They could tell us, "Oh, I was down with Malcolm X. Yeah, I was rah. I was out there. Yeah, the Black Panthers, I was supporting all that." And the reality is, most people weren't, or a lot of people weren't. Definitely not everyone who said that they were supporting that was. A lot of those people was really saucy against it because they were afraid, or they didn't understand. They were conditioned a certain way. So now they'll tell us that they was supporting the movement the whole time, only to come to find out, or sometimes we can never know if they really did. See, now we're living in the social media age where everybody has a camera. Everyone could be a media platform to some degree. And now let's take it like 50 years in the future, when all the work that's being put down right now, the things that we're doing on the shoulders of our ancestors, that we're doing to progress the culture, especially with this reparations movement. Now, when all this pays off, and much of it will pay off in our lifetime, but then let's go a couple generations even past that. See, these fakes ain't gonna be able to make those same claims and say that they was down the whole time. That's why it's good that these bitch ass niggas are being unmasked and exposed, because they're not gonna be able to double back and jump on the bandwagon. They're making themselves clear. I'm gonna show you a couple comments because there's been a lot of trolling going on my videos lately. I ain't got the biggest platform, but it's obviously enough for some of these trolls to expose themselves. And then we have personalities in the community that we know is only here to dissipate and cause disruption. Let me turn this down because I'm not really feeling that right there. Oh no. So anyway, let's go ahead and get to a couple of these clips, man. Let's go.
My brother, how are you, sir? Go ahead.
I'm good. Hey, the only thing I wanted to ask you for, how do we calm this black social media beefing shit going on while we fighting for reparations? What's up with that, Reese?
Good question. What we have to do, you better understand, a lot of the social media beefing, a lot of that, for the most part, is inconsequential. All we got to do is get offline, and that will alleviate that. We get out here and start getting boots on the ground, that alleviates all that stuff. For example, when we were getting our reparations march in November, which was the most successful reparations march in the United States, there has never been a reparations march that successful. That was the first successful reparations march as far as the numbers. That was there has never been a reparations march with those kind of numbers. That sent a message. Before we were doing that, there were a lot of people trolling on social media, okay? There were a lot of these ops agent provocateurs, all on Twitter Space, trolling their hearts out. Not only were they trolling their hearts out, they were setting up counter marches to undermine us. They were trying to undermine our march by having these other marches around the same time. Now, when they had these marches, when they got offline and tried to have these marches, 2 or 3 people showed up. Nobody was showing up to them shits. But thousands of people came to ours. That's how you alleviate the nonsense on social media. You make your project successful, all right? You get out there with real boots on the ground, for real, and make that thing successful. Yeah, and you should have known something was up when you had these hostile tethers campaigning for the other march, all right? That's another sign. Look who the angry, hostile tethers are supporting, all right? You did? Yeah. Some of the social media beefs, no. You can handle that offline. Like, I got some court dates with some of these social media beefers. I'm showing you how to do it. You start putting that Tasha K action on their ass, because we got some restraining order action on some people. Then we're going to have some defamation cases on them. Because, yeah, when you get people who think they can, you got people who get on social media, they think, well, I'm a dusty Negro. Ain't nobody gonna punch down. See, they think they have punch down protection. They think, well, I'm so damn dusty and broke and I'm such a nobody, I can say anything. I can just sit here and make up anything. Yeah, I got 2 nickels to rub together, so I can just get online. Nothing from nothing equals nothing. So I can just say anything. I'd make up anything I want to say. And then when you say, hey, no. Sometimes you can punch down to make an example out of some people. You dig? Sometimes you got to make an example out of some people. And well, that's what Cardi B did with Tasha K. She made an example out of Tasha K. With all of that trolling and lying that Tasha K does. She's known for that. And that set a good precedent. So now you can't sit here lying on people, even though they might be celebrities. You just can't say anything, knowing that you're lying. You dig? And a lot of people who are just dusty and broke, they think, well, my dusty and brokenness is going to protect me. No. No. Sometimes you got to make an example out of people. Get their asses up in court. Yeah, Tasha K, again, it's the punch down factor. You know, it's some people, they're so dusty and low level, them getting dragged into court, well, hell, at least I'm getting some clout. At least somebody notices me. You dig? Some people are just so low in the grass, any kind of clout is good. Yeah? But that should say something about the audience, because the thing is, if you're the kind of audience that sits up and listens to somebody lying and you know that they're lying, what the hell does that say about you? What does that say about you, ladies and gentlemen? What does that say about you?
Facts.
You did?
And that's a good point right there. And this is something that I've spoke on before, which I've stated plenty of times in the past, that when you have situations where people will continuously undermine or attack those who are actually putting in work. And you know who I'm talking about? These dusty, fez head, Taharka Bay type niggas that only have smoke for people who are really putting in work. And it's like, for someone who's actually put in work, who's actually like been grassroots activist community for real, it's easy to identify who hasn't. Because people who haven't don't understand the mutual respect you'll always have for those who you know are sincerely putting in work, whether you agree with their method or not. Let's look at Malcolm X and MLK. And as much as they had their own little differences and disagreements, and even took shots at each other, mostly Malcolm X taking shots at MLK, but he never took it to a point to where it couldn't be reconciled. Because even if he didn't agree with MLK, had to still have respect for the fact that MLK was actually sincere and he was still putting his life on the line. Like, it's easy to look at it 70 years later and be like, oh, I don't agree with MLK because he was whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. But put yourself in that situation, and would you have had the heart to do what he did? Would you have really been on there for Malcolm X or for MLK? Or any of them other groups? Would you have really had the heart in those times to put your life on the line? Because that's exactly what he did. He really put his efforts, energy, and resources into what he believed. And the reason he was sincere is because when he learned better, he pivoted. See, a lot of people, they can't do that. You call them out on something, they understand what they're doing is wrong, they'll disappear. This is why, like, back in the days, well, not back in the days, but like in 2018 when that pandemic hit, I started blocking everybody on social media who was talking that crazy shit about how black people are immune to the Rona and the 5G towers are spreading it, because I just didn't want to see that all over my timeline. And I knew that once these things were disproven, the ones that are saying this are never going to have the integrity or the character to be like, hey, I was wrong about that. So those who are sincere, there's only some that really can look at things, and then when they realize what they're doing isn't the proper way, will actually admit it and make the proper adjustments. So those who actually be getting down in the streets for real will always have an amount of respect for those, even if they don't like the person as an individual, as personally. There's people who I know for real who I might have disagreements with, who I don't even like as a person. Like, that person's an asshole. That lady, she's a bitch, but I know they're sincere in what they're doing. I'll still respect that. I will not go against the grain because I know what they're doing is still important enough that it goes past my personal opinions or feelings for them. There's been people who I rocked with for years who we fell out. Fell out with this one cat because he had a little thing for my daughter's mom, and things was getting kind of whatever. We went a long time without talking, and then we had to basically sit down and chop it up. And we came to the conclusion mutually that, hey, whatever happened in the past, whatever disagreements we had, we understand that there's not enough of us doing this work in our community for us not to link up and support each other in different endeavors. Because I know he's sincere about what he does. If somebody hit me up and was like, hey, Whoop-de-Whoop is doing a Whoop-de-Whoop, is he worthy of supporting, or is that, I would have to say yeah. I have to say yeah. He's real about what he's talking about. He's real about what he's doing. He does make moves. He really is about the people like he says he is. So people who actually have real experience doing these things, we understand the challenges, to where we have to salute and applaud and support those who are putting in that type of work. It just doesn't make sense not to. But those who don't understand that, the nuances of doing real grassroots in the streets work and actually making progress and actually getting burnt out because you don't think what you're doing is affecting people, and the different challenges that you have from your own people, from local government ops, the politicians try to get on local city councils so they throw you under the bus because they know what you're about, and they just all the kind of different things that you come across. If you don't have no experience with that, from the outside looking in, you could be like, oh well, I don't like what they're doing, and there's better ways to do it, even though you don't even have the you know what I'm saying? You don't have the experience, and you really don't have the interest or desire to actually put into motion what you're saying is the right way, because you wouldn't even know how to go about doing it. You don't know what it's really like to have to go print out flyers, hand them out, coordinate, find organize an event space, put in the work to get people to come out, put in the work to have to network with other people with resources in order to get what you're trying to get off the ground and make it successful. You don't know what that's like. So it's easy to say I don't like what they're doing or how they're doing it. But if you ain't got the experience of putting in that work, you're not even qualified to speak on it. And that's why it's easy to identify those who really don't. It's easy to identify them. Just the conversation will let it be known. Anyway, let's go ahead and get to You know, let's get to another part of this video, because like I said on the video that I made called "Why It's Important to Know Who's Who," you know what I'm saying? Something that I keep saying is it's not just about the individuals, these trolls out here, but it's about who's following them though. And then you identify them, like I said, so they can't double back and act like they've always been with the movement. We can't even give them. Hold up, where we at? Let's do like this real quick. Are we still on? Oh, okay, my bad. We can't even give them that kind of leeway. It's a good thing that they're coming out the woodworks like this, so we can identify them, isolate them, dissipate that bitch ass nigga energy, unmask them, and not allow them to come back and act like they fuck with us the whole time when we know that they don't. When we know that they never did. We can't give them that same action as some of these old niggas that act like that they were really with Malcolm X back in the day, when they was really against them.
Yes.
Your lives and everything, and you have so many positive comments to make and about Black families.
Yeah.
But I was just concerned. In the past, you would make derogatory comments about Black women. Where do you stand on single Black women
Wait. What did I say about Black women that was negative?
Okay, one negative comment you made about Black women is you would explain to your audience that if they were to get a biracial, you were talking to your audience on how to get a biracial woman.
Right.
And you say, if you're going to get a biracial woman, make sure the mother of that biracial woman is white and not Black.
Right.
Because typically biracial women that come from white mothers are more submissive than those that come from Black mothers, or more cooperative, should I say.
Right. Okay. So that's what I said negative about Black women?
You made some other negative comments about Black women too.
Like what? Because because that what you just said, you just proved yourself wrong. So what was the other false comment that I said about Black women? Because you're not doing very good, ma'am.
Okay, so I proved myself wrong. Did you not say it?
What you said wasn't a negative comment about Black women. That wasn't a negative comment about.
Well, that was negative comments about Black mothers.
No, it wasn't.
Okay, so we can move on. You were stating that.
No.
And in other words, you were stating.
No, I was talking about bedwenches for the most part. Bedwenches are not the representatives of Black women. Why do you think a bedwench is a representative of Black women? Why would you think that?
You weren't talking about bedwenches. You said a Black mother.
No. I'm talking about a lot of these women who get like men and sometimes have a certain ideology, because I know exactly what I said. I was talking about bedwenches, and bedwenches are not the representative of Black women. Also, that was in the context of me talking about how to date women of all different groups. If you listen to all of it, I told people you're supposed to preferably date Black women. But if you're going to date an Asian, this is how you date an Asian woman. If you're going to date a Hispanic, this is how you date a Hispanic woman. If you're going to date a biracial woman, this is how you date a biracial woman. I did an entire week. Because what you're not going to do is leave stuff out. That was back in the Magnuson days, where we did a interracial dating week on how to date women from all groups. All right. So every day we talked about the pros and cons of dating different women. Here's the positives, here's the negatives of different racial groups of women. But ultimately, I told people the best group to date were Black women. So now, ma'am, the fact that, so now, and I got to let you go because, ma'am, what you're doing, those are troll talking points. Okay? And the fact that you listen to people with troll talking points, damn. That says a lot about you, ma'am. All right.
So anyway, that's understand what's going on right there. What that really was. That was really one of someone who listens to trolls like Tariq Bay. Because Tariq Bay's been going on in like 50 videos within the last month, just bringing up irrelevant bullshit. I'm gonna show you some comments that at least one comment that's been on my videos, and there's been like an uptick of comments on my videos to where it's getting weird. Matter of fact, it's getting weird. What these chicks will say, what these dudes will say, in order to give a pass to a documented sex offending, woman and children beaten, scamming, and then like what they're really concerned about. I'm gonna show you in a minute, but let's get to this other point real quick. And this is why I say it's important to know who is who. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't mind bringing up something from what was written in a book 20 years ago, but then they'll act like something that just happened 5 or 6 years ago is too ancient of history for us to be worried about and give it a pass. And it's like, at this point, does it matter if, okay, listen, if no matter what you say to someone, logically, doesn't even detour their way of thinking, if they can't soak up what you're saying, which is logical, and at least adjust their opinions, then you know you're dealing with agenda. You're either dealing with someone who is an idiot who just cannot conceptualize, who really, you know what I mean? They're either on a mental level that's no good for us anyway, and that's not going to be progressive, that, you know, or they have an agenda from someone more powerful than them, someone leaning on them, someone who's instructing them. That's why they're ops. It don't matter if they get paid by the government or not. Like we know in the case of Tariq Nasheed, we know that he has cooperated with the government in the form of snitching, which is the same year that he started his channel. Now, do I know if he's getting paid or not? I don't know if the government's actually cutting them a check, telling them to do this, this, and that. But I would say that it would make sense if you understand how counterintelligence works. So when you see people that can see the progress being made by the FBA movement, not just the FBA. FBA is just like, you know, a way of us distinguishing ourselves from other groups. But I'm saying from our people, period, you see the progress that's being made by what we're doing. Demonstrations for real in the streets, for real, political moves being made, for real, economic moves being made. And then somebody wants to go back to what somebody said 20 years ago in a book. But they'll ignore someone who actually, see, it's one thing when you critique someone and you don't have any resume of your own, but you take the time to critique and tell everyone what they should be doing, what they shouldn't be doing, how terrible they are, and you're critiquing people who actually have real life history making moves. That's one thing, because that's already fugazi enough. It's like somebody who's never played football before telling you that because this professional football quarterback threw an interception that he sucks. But you couldn't even lace up his shoes. You couldn't even play one play in the NFL. But you're telling a professional quarterback they suck because they made a mistake. That's one thing, right? That's garbage enough. But when you not only don't have any receipts or ability to do what you're criticizing others, and the only receipts you do have is very disturbing, like being a sexual predator, convicted, documented, then it's like, whoa, you gotta look at these kind of things, right? When people can sit up here and critique and undermine, slander, lie upon people who actually have done things, like, think about it. The things that some of these cats are coming around talking about, accusing some other individuals and organizations of, you've never heard these claims from their communities. I'm going to show you a little bit later, but let's go ahead and get to this other part. Let me see. Another trolling talking point, because this is what it's come to for these loser ass niggas. This is all they got left to do now, because they're losing in every other way. So here's what they're doing now.
We just got to call it what it is, man. A lot of these niggas are just real janky out here. A lot of these niggas are janky. Let's see who this is. What's up? Who's calling?
Oh, yes. This is Rosalind from Georgia.
Okay, you call.
North Carolina.
So
okay.
You already know right there that here goes some shenanigans. She's from Georgia. She's from North Carolina. She don't even know where she's from. But I already know who this is, actually.
What's going on, Rosalind?
I'd just like to know, what is your stance on single mothers receiving reparation? Because in one of your videos, you stated that single Black mothers should not receive reparation.
Well, I was talking about pretty much tethers. Tethers shouldn't get it, but single mothers should get it. Now, when we look at it, they should get it. So now what? They should get it. So now what? Every Black person, every Black person who's a foundational Black American should get it.
All right, then your views change. Then
Look at that. I mean, this is just weird. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, they're going back all these years for little petty ass shit, and these are all talking points that were started by one particular individual. One particular individual, bitch ass ugly turtle Taharka Bay, because he's so desperate. Like imagine someone who has documents pulled of being a sex offender, and this is the only thing he can do, the only slander he can dig up on a beef that he started and was told leave it alone. So now he has to go back 20 years. Oh, didn't you say that single mothers shouldn't get reparations? Okay, well, I changed my mind on that. Maybe that was wrong. Okay, they should get it. So in other words, like I was saying before, that demonstrates that people of intelligence can change their viewpoints. They may say something and then later on they don't agree with that because more information came up or they matured in a way that, okay, yeah, I could pivot and say that maybe that wasn't the proper thing to say, or maybe my ideas have changed and evolved with more information and maturity. These cats have to stand on their square of this fuck shit, right? Dude is a documented sex offender. And the people who listen to bullshit like this, look at this. Let me show you guys something. Let me share this tab right here. Like I said, there's been an uptick of trolls on my channel, right? Let me see if y'all can see that. And this is why I say it's important to know who's who, because of shit like this right here. I don't know if y'all can see that. Hopefully you can. Look at this. Here is somebody who left a message on my video 6 days ago. This video was saying, you can see from the thumbnail, I'm addressing some Taharka Bay trolls already in this video by reminding them that the person who they're trolling for is a documented sex offender. Here's what she says. And this is a she with a baby. Like, you go to her page, it's her and her newborn baby all up on her YouTube channel. But she'll say something like this: there's a lot of accusations of child molestation, ... That's not my concern right now. Newborn baby. Her concern isn't about that. This is a woman, a mother. Her concern is not about child molestation. She wants to know why Tariq Nasheed is scheming on Black people. That's what you need to speak up. Now, where does she get these talking points that Tariq Nasheed is scheming on Black people? How is Tariq Nasheed scheming on Black people? By doing business. What's the scam? That's what I'm saying. What is the scam? Look at this. Talking about something that's been cleared makes no sense. It hasn't been cleared. This is what it is. Like, that is on the record. It hasn't been cleared. You know what I'm saying? So she's going, the real issue, this is the real issue, not about child molestation or sexual predators in our community that's trying to lead and teach people and be the moral compass. That's not an issue. She's okay with that as a mother of a child. What she's not okay with is these donations that Tariq is taking for a building that's not going to be a real museum. Now, first of all, it's funny that the only people who have a problem with this museum are people who didn't even donate to it. People who ain't even supporting it any damn way. So why do you care? But second of all, how is it a scam for one person to say, I want to raise money so we can have a museum, and then when he raises the money, he matches the money raised and purchases a building? Now, everyone who's donated is okay with that. The museum should be open in February. Already in progress of these things happening. But she's talking about that's a problem for her. It's a problem for her that people, because it's not her supporting it. right? She's not supporting it. She didn't put no money in it, but she has a problem with other people putting money towards things that they want to do. She wouldn't have a problem if it was white folks that just said, hey, we got a Black History Museum. She wouldn't have a problem with that. She wouldn't be protesting that, saying, hey, that's not right, that's not real. So she does not care about sexual molestation or sexual predators in the community. She's mad that that someone has raised money and allowed people to donate if they want to for a museum that actually was purchased, but the person she's trolling for has raised money several times for several years for a Morse village that still hasn't materialized, for a news van that still hasn't materialized, to go and sue someone who he doesn't even have grounds to sue, and they're foolish enough to not even be able to recognize the fact that he can't sue someone for bringing public records, but he's now exposing himself to being sued, and it sounds like Tariq Nasheed is really considering that. And if he said that, he's likely going to go ahead and push that issue, because everybody ain't playing just to troll. People are making real moves and real things happen. But this is what I'm saying that we have to be concerned about. Even more so than these individual trolls, it's what they're creating. But it's also a good thing that these people are starting to expose themselves. We need to know that there are women out here who will disregard the safety of children in the capacity of sexual molestation just to pocket watch and be mad at people. But what is this? What is this scheming that's going on? Okay, so he raised money for a bunch of movies that he actually produced, good quality movies that I've shown in my communities, to my children, that I've actually had discussions after showing it to the community of youth. You could even watch one of the videos right here on this channel. See, people are mad at people who are really doing real things, but they'll excuse the most egregious acts. They'll excuse it. It's weird. And this isn't the only comment like this that's on my page. You know what I'm saying? That's how come I know like those people are the same people who was just calling in Tariq Nasheed. Because that's all that this cat has right now. And the reason why it's important to expose this shit is because of this right here. Because of stuff like this right here. See, if we don't, now we have the ability to expose things in real time like we never have before. And if we don't, 50 years from now, what Taharka Bey would love to see is people actually think that this picture is real with him, Malcolm X, and Muhammad Ali. Because he knows they're not really teaching, you know what I'm saying, if we leave it up to the public schools, they ain't going to know. It's only been this new black media and some of us that are putting this information out for real that's really educating people. And I speak to youth all the time. And I put them up on game all the time, and I know where their head is at. They want this. They're ready for this. They're seeking things. They're ready to get out and get busy. They understand what time it is. They're not looking at this mainstream bullshit. See, but this cat would like to be able to etch himself into history as someone with the likes of Malcolm X and Muhammad Ali. He even made his photo black and white so he could Photoshop himself in front of Malcolm X as he acts like he's giving Malcolm X a shout out for his birthday. And then you can see he can't even really read and write proficiently. You are missed needed today. What? Shouldn't it be I'm not even going to tell you how to write, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. But this is why I'm saying it's important for us to be able to identify and dissipate this bitch ass nigga energy and unmask it. Because this is the exact type of propaganda that counterintelligence program was using in the 60s. Undermine. But then yet still try to associate yourself. He wants people to think that he's really in the realm of Malcolm X and Muhammad Ali. He wants people to see this picture 50 years from now when they don't know better to think that, oh, man, who's it? No. So keep making them videos if you're a content creator. Now I see why people keep saying keep banging on this cat. It's because we don't want there to be a situation where he could be taken seriously generations from now. I mean, it's already sad. that he's going to be raising some bitch ass nigga kids. And this ain't no disrespect to his kids. It's not their fault. But imagine having to grow up knowing that your dad was on some fuckery. Imagine that. Because I know they sneak watch some of these new black media cats, some of us, and they're seeing like their dad who's lying about not beating their mom when they seen it and witnessed it, along with them getting beat down by the same cat. When they've witnessed the things that he's denying, he's more interested in lying to the people and acting like he's something that he's not. Like when people start lying and shit, that's why they can't really go out nowhere. See, his kids can't call him out on it yet. But this is why he doesn't have no people around him that ever can back him. No other organizations, no receipts of him doing real shit. And most of these trolls don't. They don't have any alliances. Nobody else fucks with them. You can't see a track record of them doing things. You could look back on my social media. I have a track record of fucking with cats that's respectable, that y'all know. That's just on a social media tip, but also in the community for real. These trolls don't have that. That's why they're so negative. Because they don't have that. They don't understand that there's real things happening. And some of them don't want it to because they're scared. Even if it's subconsciously, they're scared. They're bitch ass niggas. And a lot of them have criminal records that's being leveraged against them, because that's what feds do. They leverage people's criminal records and make you seen Judas and the Black Messiah. A lot of that energy going on for real. See, the difference is in the 60s, you had to really get down and dirty and infiltrate and risk your life of being revealed. Now you don't. Now you can Photoshop a picture, right? You can Photoshop a picture and act like, you was really there. You can get online and create other trolls who will say stuff like, hey, I don't care about the molestation. That's not important to me. But let's look at her thing real quick. You know what I'm saying? This is the person who doesn't care about. Oops.
Okay, earlier you was talking about.
Yeah. This is the person who doesn't care about the fact that someone could have sexual molestation. These are the kind of people, I hate to say it.
Okay.
These are the kind of people, though.
Okay, earlier was
right, that will excuse their own children when they're molested by men because they're not going to believe it, because they're not concerned with it. They're not going to believe it. They're going to look the other way. They're going to make excuses. We know it happens all the time. And you wonder, who are these women when you read these stories, you see these stories, who will, you know what I'm saying? When women come out saying, hey, I told my mother she didn't do anything. Who are these women that's not doing anything? It's women like that. Not concerned about that. She's really concerned about why people are donating to Tariq Nasheed for a museum that's not going to ever happen. And then when it happens, do you think she's going to turn around and be like, okay, I was wrong about that? No, she's not. She's going to go to the next troll. You think when it's proven that Taharka Bey is not going to sue Tariq Nasheed or anyone else that he's raising this money to sue for, do you think that he or any of the people that follow him, the dummies and trolls and bots and agents that support him, do you think they're going to be like, oh man, I was wrong? Oops. No. When the museum opens, do all these people who said that was fake, are they going to have the integrity to apologize and say I was wrong? No, absolutely not. That's not what they do. They're not built like that. And that's how you know that most of these cats, no matter what kind of little identity that they say they're into, they don't really believe none of that shit. If you have to say over and over to try to say who you are or what you believe in, Moorish, Israelite, Hotepian, whatever it is, if you have to continuously tell people this is what you stand on as far as a religion or ideology, but you have no work to do it, if you have to continuously tell people, who are you really convincing? I could do a whole new video on that. These cats are cap. Fitted. Anyway, that's it, y'all. I'm out. Liberation Minded Media, Jay Dizzle. Leave your comments. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Appreciate your time. B1, FBA family, B1.